Okay, welcome everybody to Gentle Movement at Home for the week. I think we're on May 11th today, second week of May already. Thanks for taking the time to join us. We really appreciate you coming for this workout. Oh dear, I've put the wrong slide deck up, but sorry about that. We don't have Carrie today. We have Neil. So I'm gonna flip through that slide really quickly. Everything else is sort of the same. We have just a note that Neil's not able to answer any specific medical concerns or give specific medical advice. You really need to talk with your healthcare provider about that. Any questions you have there. Just a reminder, we are recording this session and it will be available within our Facebook videos as well as on our YouTube channel after this. If you need technical help, put your question in the chat or email education@pmbc.ca. And of course, we've got a poll at the end that we'd love for you to fill out. Oh, that's today. We've got today, and then we've got Wednesday with a new instructor, Colleen Jorgensen. And then on Thursday, Neil is back with us. Okay, Neil, are you ready?
I am.
Awesome. Okay, I'll take it away.
Okay, thanks, Jen. Welcome, everyone. So another day of gentle movement and relaxation. I guess I wanted to start today just by discussing a little bit about what we're trying to do, and the idea really here is that to take a break in the day is one of the things that we believe is a really important thing to do when we are living with chronic pain or in the midst of a process of recovering from a condition that involves chronic pain. So this idea of finding a way to calm down our nervous systems and finding a way to move the body a bit, because that also helps us with healing and calming down the nervous systems, and that we can approach these kind of practices or techniques from an idea of an escape or a calm, something that will just calm things down and give you a break during the day from the other stresses and things. We also believe that when people do this, that over time with practicing this, that over time we start to be able to become more resilient and more adaptable, and that over time that we get better at calming things down. And so during the day when things are getting worse, or maybe the pain's getting worse, that you'd be able to come back and find some of these techniques to see if you could actually get some more control or more influence over the pain at that time. So you can use this, sort of summarize that, you can use these practices as things to calm things down in the midst of your day, of today. And then if you can do this repeatedly, we don't know what the amount of the amount of repetition or the dose that we need of this, but by continuing to do these practices, we believe that there will be improvements over time, that the practice, when the practice involves calming things down, that over time we get better at calming. So we hope that you sort of get both of those around this. So as with each day, each one of these practices, if anything you're doing today, maybe it felt better or fine another day, but right now it's not feeling like it's giving you what you want to get, then just pause. If it doesn't feel like it's something you should come back to, then don't come back to it. Just rest and then pick on up once we get to a new movement or a new relaxation technique or new breathing technique. So we really don't believe that you need to go through more anxiety or more pain or more stress as part of these options. The idea here is to look for a way to move with ease, to feel more ease, and to go from there, and then from that sense of ease, try to move more. So we're going to start with a different breathing technique, one that we haven't done so far, and hopefully it'll help with a little bit of calming. So with this breathing technique, you take 3 inhales. It's like you're taking an inhale, you take an inhale like a first third of it, and then you just briefly pause, and then you take in more air to like the second third of the breath, and then you take in more air to be the last third of the breath. And then as you breathe out, you let go. So the idea would be to do something like breathe in partially, breathe in partially again, breathe in partially again, and now release. And as you breathe in, it's like you breathe in. So as you release for today, try the breath out with your mouth open. So if you can, breathe in those 3 parts, almost like steps, like you're taking a step up and then taking a step up and then taking a step up. So now you're at the top, and then you open your mouth, let the breath go. So just try that a few breaths. Breathe in. Now you get to play around with this a bit, because if you feel like you're taking in too much air, like you're running out of breath, then just don't take as much in each time you breathe in. Some people call it like you're taking a sip of breath, and then another sip, and then another sip. And you don't need to fill up the whole tank. You don't have to fill up your whole lungs or complete a full breath on the inhale. Just do that gentle breathe in. Now, if you've got that and you're doing it in a way that you feel you can maintain, as you breathe in, sort of feel a sense of almost like you're lifting up, or your energy is lifting a little bit. Or maybe you'll feel your chest lifting a bit, and then lifting a bit more and lifting it more. Or your torso expand a bit, then expand a bit more, then expand a bit more, and then you release. So you might be able to see that when I do it, my shoulders are coming up a bit, my shoulder blades and collarbones are coming up a little bit. And then when I breathe out, you can see them relax back down. So if you want to continue with that, go ahead and continue with it, or you can let it go now. If it would be best to move around a little bit, just shift in your chair. I'm sitting against the back of my chair to start with. You could be sitting out here at the front. You could be sitting on a cushion or on the floor. You can even do this laying down. I apologize. I should have mentioned that to you at the beginning. So whatever position you're in, you can work on this breath practice. But let that breath go now, and take your attention out to your body and notice the spots in your body where you have tension or discomfort or pain. And then come back to that very same breath. Do the inhale exactly like you were doing. But as you exhale and you feel your breath letting go, create a sensation of letting go in the areas of your body where there's tension, discomfort, or pain. Now, if there's more than one area, probably best to choose the areas where it's not as much, the areas where you think it would be easier to change the tension or discomfort or pain there. And then maybe work into the areas where the pain feels bigger or harder to change. But the idea is to see if with this breath, if you can let go, and if you let go with your breath and let go in that part of your body, whether it will start to create a bit of release. The idea of doing this is hopefully if we can create less tension in that area of the body, less pain in that area of the body, that it will be easier to move with more ease as we start into the movement. And once again, you can carry on with that breath, or you can come back to your normal breath right now. Take your attention to your hands. Create a sensation of lightness in your hands. If you remember one of the sessions we did last week, we were creating a sensation of heaviness, like things were sinking down. But think about your hands and see if you can create a sensation that your hands are lighter on your legs. Your fingers are lighter wherever they're resting. And then see if you can do the same thing through your forearms and your hands. Create a sensation of gentle lightness. Like your body's just not quite so heavy as it was. You can feel your body resting on the chair, and you can feel your feet on the floor, and you can feel your breath at the same time as you create the sensation of lightness. And maybe now you can create that sensation of lightness all the way from your shoulders on down your arms to your fingers and thumbs. It's like that, those areas of your body are becoming lighter. Like as if you were to lift them, they wouldn't feel so heavy. So you can feel your feet on the floor and your seat on the chair, and you can feel your breath. Switch from that sensation of your arms down to your legs and see if you can feel your feet like they're lighter resting on the floor. Create a sensation that your lower legs and feet are lighter than they were just a moment ago. It'd be easier to move them or lift them. At the same time, as you still feel your breath and you still feel your body resting on the chair and the floor, create a sensation of lightness all the way through your legs, from your hips and your thighs and your knees and your lower legs and your feet, a sensation of lightness. And see if you can extend that in around your pelvis as well and your lower back. So wherever you're resting, create a sensation of lightness in your pelvis, your lower back, as if it would be less heavy to lift them up. And while you continue to feel the breath, your air coming in and the air going out, and while you continue to feel your body resting on the floor and on the chair, create that sensation of lightness through every aspect of your physical body. It's not like you feel like you're going to float away, just that your body is lighter than it was. This can really help sometimes when our body feels so tense and hard, and sometimes when we haven't been able to move very much, we can feel really heavy. Even though our body weight is our body weight, but so we can feel heavy, and sometimes we can create a sensation of lightness that might help. And so if you're finding that's helping, if you're finding you can feel that sensation of lightness, I'm going to bring you back to that a number of times as we go through the class today. So we're going to start sitting down. We'll do a little bit of standing. We'll come back to sitting today. So I think we had mentioned that we would do some laying down and hands and knees, but we'll make a little bit of shift up, and hopefully that's okay with everyone. So find a little bit of length in your spine. Let your body relax. Just scan back through your body, and if anything feels tight, maybe you can go back to that creating a sensation of lightness there. Or maybe it would feel best to go back to that sort of 3-step inhale, relax on the exhale. So just for a moment, your awareness is with the parts of your body where you hold tension or where there's discomfort or pain. And see what would happen if you come back to that breath that you did before, or if you try creating a sensation of lightness. And now if it worked for you, come on back to that sensation of lightness in your arms. And when you breathe in next time with your arms feeling lighter, just take your arms straight up to the front, only as far as you want to go, and then bring them on back down. Just keep on doing that as long as it feels okay. You can take your arms right on up to the sky if that feels okay. If you'd feel better to take your arms out to the side here rather than to the front, do that. That's fine too. Feel free to go ahead and modify or morph what you're doing so it serves you. And if you're feeling like that's enough for today, then pause. If you feel like you can keep on going, keep on going. But see if you can create that sensation of lightness while you lift your arms up, while you bring them back down again. Sometimes that's a chore, even as you come down again, to still feel that sensation of lightness as your arms come on back down again. If your arms are still moving, when they come on down again, just let them relax. Feel your feet on the floor, feel your spine really tall. Bring your hands together in front of your body, so you just intertwine your fingers all together. Your spine is tall, take your arms out, and hopefully they're still feeling a bit lighter to hold them up here. And then reach your arms forward, and then draw them back. So you're feeling your shoulder blades coming around your body a bit as you're going this way, while your arms continue to feel light. See how much you can maintain that sensation of lightness in your arms as you round your shoulder blades forward and as you draw them back. If your arms start to feel like they're getting heavy, or that's enough with holding your arms up, let your arms come on down. If you are still doing that movement, let your arms come down and just let them pause for a moment. Circle your shoulders around. You can create a sensation of lightness around your shoulder blades, around your body as you're doing this. For a lot of us, it feels good when you're creating that sensation of lightness to stay connected with your feet on the floor, your body on the chair, oftentimes to stay connected with the sensations of your breath as well. And then try your shoulders the other way. Sometimes when we create a sensation of lightness in our body, we start to feel like we become a little bit disconnected from the body. So to stay connected, to stay in touch with what's happening inside your body. That's why we get you to pay attention to your feet and your body or your hips on the chair and your breath. So if you're still moving your shoulders around, let them relax again. If you can, move to the edge of the chair. We're just going to come up a little bit towards a standing position. So a little bit of exercise for your legs. So once again, you feel the sensation of your feet on the floor. You feel the sensation of your body on the chair. You come back to that sensation of being lighter, of creating that sensation of lightness in your body. And then just take your arms out to the front and come up like you're going to stand up, and then sit back down in the chair. If you want to, you can put your hand on the chair and just come up like this. That way, you know the chair won't run away and you know where the chair is. But if it feels okay to come up a little bit higher, come on up and come on down, creating that sensation of lightness. Breathe while you do it. If you notice yourself holding your breath, do your best to keep your breath going. Remember, if it's better to have your hands down, keep your hands there. Lift up, come on back down again. If you're still going, that's great. Keep going. If you feel like that's enough for your hips or your ankles or your knees or any part of your body, pause, relax. If something needs to shift around, go ahead and do it. And if you're still coming up and down, have a seat back in the chair. Put your body back against the back of the chair again. You can feel your feet on the floor. You can feel your hips on the thighs on the chair. You can feel your back against the back of the chair. And so from this supported position, continuing to create a gentle sensation of lightness in your body, just move your neck around a little bit. So your head and neck are feeling lighter. They're not feeling compressed down. They're feeling like they're just not so heavy on your body. Bring your chin down towards your chest. Come on back up again. Go as hard as you want. If it feels good to have a good stretch, and even if you want to put your hand behind your head and pull it down so you feel more of a stretch, go ahead and do that. Or you can just do a small movement with your head. Keep your breath flowing. See if you can continue with that sensation of lightness in your head and neck as you do this. And when you come back to the center next time, just pause for a moment. If you need to shift or stop, go ahead and do that. If you can carry on, come to that nice tall posture. Just lift your chin and your eyes up a bit and then come back down to neutral. Just do that a little bit. If you feel like it would be better to put your hand behind your head so that as you're going back, your head is supported, you can go ahead and do that. Because sometimes it feels safer to do it this way than to do it without your hand there. Just play around with it a little bit and see how much movement is right so that you can continue with that sensation of lightness and you can continue with the experience that this is an easy movement. Rather than making it hard and seeing how hard you can push and how much pain you can create with it or how much pain you can tolerate with it, just really try to do these movements with the idea of either you're doing them in that fully easeful movement or you're only going up to the edge where you're just nudging the edge of the pain, whichever would be better. So if you're still doing that movement, pause for a moment again. I'm going to get you to sit away from the back of the chair again. Get tall again, feel your feet on the floor, feel your spine a little bit tall. You can feel the breath coming in and out so that you'll notice if you hold your breath. And then it's time to come into a rotation. So you're still feeling that sensation of lightness, like your body, your torso is lighter on your hips and on the chair, but you can feel your feet and your hips on the chair. And then try this as you breathe out. As you breathe out, just come into a rotation towards the left side and then come on back. And just try that one side a few times. Now, if you'd like to go more, you can put your hand behind, grab the chair, your other hand on your knees so you get a little bit more twist if that would feel good. Right? So if you feel like that's safe and it feels nice to do a stretch, then do it that way. But stick with one side for now. Just go to the right spot and come on back. Remember, if you've had enough, you don't need to wait for me. And if you're feeling like just a little bit of movement is the best thing to do, then go ahead and do a little movement. but you're staying connected, so you feel your feet and you feel your breath and you feel that sensation of lightness. So pause again once you come back to the center to give yourself a bit of a shift around before you try the other side. Maybe there's something you learned from doing that side that you want to bring in onto doing this side. However you're doing it, you feel your feet again. You feel your body on the chair, your spine's a bit tall. You create that sensation like your spine's a little bit lighter, not compacted down. And you try the other side. So you come around just to what feels good, and then come on back to the center. So your head is coming with your torso for now. Not trying to see how far you can stretch it. You're not trying to see how much pain you can tolerate. You just go into that spot that feels like, yeah, I could keep on doing this for a while and I'll be all right. And if you start to feel like, no, that's too much, it's time to stop. Maybe the discomfort is increasing or it's not feeling safe anymore, go ahead and pause. Or maybe you can't feel that sensation of lightness anymore. Your body is starting to feel like it's compacted and really, really heavy, then that might be an indication that it's time to pause. So if you are still moving, then pause again now. Move your body around a little bit. Now I'm going to come down onto the floor now. So if you have a yoga mat, that'd be great. If coming out of the chair down to the floor is something that you're not able to do today, what I'll do is I'll guide you through a little bit of some of the things you can do to create this kind of a movement that we'll do from laying down. So I'm just going to move the chair out of the way. So come on down to the floor. If you can, have a pillow underneath your head. If you're okay with having your knees bent, have your knees bent, because that's where we're going to move from today after we just do a little bit of movement around. So feel your feet on the floor, feel your body resting down here. Check in with your body now that you're lying down. Maybe there's different areas that feel tension or discomfort or pain. And come back to that breath you did at the beginning. Now see if I can take that breath into the parts of my body where I usually hold tension or discomfort. And then even while I'm laying down, I can create that sensation of lightness in my body. I can feel my body weight sinking down towards the floor. And yet I can also create a sensation that my body is not quite so heavy on the floor, that my feet aren't so heavy, that my hips and my back and my head aren't so heavy on the floor. Once again, it's not like I'm creating a sensation that I'm just going to float away. I'm just creating a sensation that my body is not quite so heavy on the floor. Now stay with that idea. You can feel your body resting on the floor. Bring your left foot up. Reach up with your leg as straight as it wants to go, then bring it back down, put it back down on the floor. So reach up with your leg, other leg, bring it back down to the floor. So you're creating this sensation of lightness, even in your legs, and reaching your leg up, then bring it on back down again. Sensation of lightness in my leg, reach up with that leg, come on back down again. Remember, you can pause anytime you want. You don't have to see how far you can go. You don't have to make it a big stretch. Just move to a place that feels like a nice stretch, nice movement. Your leg comes down next time, pause. If it would feel best to take your legs out and give them just a bit of a shift around, or maybe it would feel better to roll your knees to the side a little bit, go ahead and do that. Then come back to the center position. So you can feel your feet on the floor again. You can feel your head on the pillow, your body on the floor. You can feel your hips on the floor. See if you can create a sensation of lightness around your low back, pelvis, and hips. And while you create that sensation, push your feet down to the floor a little bit. If you're okay with it, have your hands on the floor. And what you'll do from here is push your arms and your hands down a bit, your feet down a bit, so that you start to lift your hips up away from the floor. I'm going to show you the big movement so you can see, but I don't need to lift that high. I can just create that sensation that my hips come up a bit. So if you're sitting in the chair, you can put your hands on the arms of the chair, on the side of the chair. You have your feet on the floor. Push down with your hands a bit, push down with your feet a bit, and engage the muscles like you're going to lift your pelvis a little bit up towards the front of the chair. Don't worry about your hips coming up. Just engage the muscles like you're going to do that. So you're creating this sensation of lightness around your hips and your pelvis and your low back. You're gently pushing down with your feet, pushing down with your hands, and if you're laying down with your arms. And your pelvis feels light as you lift your hips up, as you come on back down again. Maintain that sensation of lightness. While you can feel your breath is continuing to flow, you don't feel like your breath is catching inside you while you do this. It just keeps on coming in and out. Remember, you can pause anytime you want. If you feel this is okay, you can continue with it. If it would feel good to lift your hips up and stay here for 2 or 3 breaths, go ahead and do that. For those of you who want a really big challenge today with your arms down, you can sort of shift the weight over so you can lift the foot up and take it straight out in front of you and put it back down. And then try the other thing, but try the other side, but keep that sensation of lightness around your body as you do this. Do your best to keep your breath flowing. Do your best not to hold your breath. Check in with those areas of your body that tend to get tense, the areas of your body that are sore. So whether you're lengthening your leg or holding up or coming up and down, keep checking in. What's happening with my breath? What's happening with my body? Can I keep my breath calm? Can I keep my body calm while I do this? Now, once you come down at the end, let your body relax. So you've been creating this sensation of lightness. Just allow your body now just to sink down. So you feel your body release into the mat, release into the floor just a little bit. Then take one knee up, take the other knee up. Now, if you're sitting in a chair, you're going to need to bend forward rather than bring your knees up like this. So put your hands on your thighs and just come into a bent forward. So you just feel your spine rounding. If you're laying down, if it's okay to lift your chin up. If not, just stay in this position and bring your knees into your chest just a bit. Just do a little bit of a rocking of your low back while you're here. Even with this, only go so far as it feels like the right amount to do. When your feet come back down next time, or when you release your knees next time, release one knee at a time, put it back down to the floor, put the other one down the other side. If you're seated, just push yourself back up into a tall position. And then what we'll do is a bit of a rotation. So just let your breath relax. Take your knees on down to the side. Take your knees back to the center. Take your knees down to the other side. If you're seated in a chair and if rotation feels okay, let your upper body rotate around. Sorry, I was just getting a little bit of a calf cramp there. So knees go down one side, come on back to the center. Knees go down to the other side. Or if you're seated in the chair, you're just doing a gentle rotation one side to the other. And just like I did, if you need to at any time, go ahead and pause, morph what you're doing, modify it so you feel like, yeah, that feels safe, that feels okay. And then come on back up from the left side, back to the center again. Your head is looking straight now, your body's resting like this, or your legs are straight down the floor, whichever you prefer. Take your hands back in front of you again. Intertwine your fingers just like you did while you're seated. Your shoulder blades are down towards the floor. Create that sensation of lightness in your arms, hands, shoulders. And try this when you breathe in next time. Reach your arms up, show your shoulder blades come around your body, and then let them sink back down again. It's like your arms are reaching up and they're feeling light and coming back down. You're doing your best to keep your breath flowing rather than to hold your breath. You're noticing those areas of your body that tend to get tense or just sore or painful. And you're making sure that's not building up. Or if you're provoking any of those things, you're feeling like, yes, I know that if I let my arms back down again, it's going to calm back down again. So you got to find that just right spot. I wish I could tell you that it's the same place all the time, but of course you know that. The pain's a moving target, so you have to try things out each day. Even between morning and noon and afternoon, you have to check things out to see what's happening in terms of how far you can go. So if you are still moving, let your hands release, let your arms come on back down to the floor again. And from here, we're going to come back on up to the chair again. So if it feels best, for most of you, probably best roll on your side And then from there, push yourself back up, and we're going to come back up to the chair. So if there's any stretch you need to do along the way, or any stretch you want to do once you get back up here, if you want to move your shoulders around, move your head around a little bit, go ahead and do that. Just do a little bit more movement from seated in a chair. If you're okay with it, sit away from the back of the chair, get your spine tall. Come back to creating that sensation of lightness, like your body's not sinking down and heavy. There's a sensation that is light, but your feet are on the floor. Your spine is tall. Let your left ear come down towards your left shoulder. Come on back up. Just try that a few times. Just go to the just right spot. Now, if more stretch would feel good, then you can take your left hand, reach over the other side. And I usually just put my finger on my ear as I draw my head to the side. Now, as you do this, one of the things to watch for is you don't want to end up in this position as you're going to the side. Best to feel that's the sensation of lightness, and the length of your spine is up here. So your hand comes across and you're just pulling your head to the side, just right amount in that side bend, rather than doing it from the sort of crunched up position. So there's that sensation of lightness in your head and your neck and your body, and you're just taking yourself down to that just right spot. Now you can do this, or you can do it without your hand, or if you want even more, you can grab onto the side of the chair, or even sit on your hand, and as you go down, because this will keep your shoulder down if you want to not let your shoulder come up, so keep your shoulder down a little bit more. And sometimes people feel like, oh, I like that. That's a nicer stretch. So remember, the idea here isn't to see how much you can stretch stuff out. The idea is to move in a gentle way to get the positive benefits, the chemistry benefits to the body of moving in a gentle way, rather than just focusing on trying to stretch out stuff that feels tight. Nothing wrong with working on stretches. This is just a different approach to that. So if you are still working on that side, let that go. Shift around if you want to shift around a little bit. And then try the other side from that sensation of lightness. Spine is lighter on your pelvis. Neck is lighter on your upper back. Head is lighter on your neck. Spine is up. You just let your head come on down to the side. Come on back to the center. Find the just right spot. Maybe it's small today. Remember, keep on checking in. Does this feel safe? I feel like I'll be all right later. Remember, if you want to take it further, you can put your hand up, draw your head just gently over to the side, try to avoid that crunched up position. Still feeling light in your body as you bring yourself to the side. And if you want even more stretch, you can put your hand to the side of the chair, hold on to keep your shoulder down. If this does not feel like the right thing to do, then back up. If you back up and it still feels like it's too much, then back up even further. Find the right amount of movement for you right now, knowing that it can change. It's possible that as you started to do that, you felt like you can go further and further, and then you could add in those other movements as well. So if you are still moving your neck, give that a pause. If it feels good just to roll your head around or shoulders around or spine around, go ahead and do that again as well. Take your hands in front of you again. Palms are together. Bring your arms straight up over your head, and then bring them back down again. I want you to test something out here. See how high you can get your arms where it feels all right. So some of you will feel like you can get your arms right up towards the sky and it feels fine. Others of you are going to run in the spot where it feels like that's enough for your shoulders or even your upper back or neck. And so if you're finding that you can't lift your arms up all that high, one of the things I'd like you to do is consider either just take your arms up to that spot that feels enough, or you can come to that spot and imagine that you're actually moving all the way up. And sometimes that's easier to do with your eyes closed, that you lift your arms up, and as you lift your arms up, you're imagining that your arms are going up even higher. Don't crash through the pain when you're doing this. Just taking your arms up, however it feels high, it feels all right. And then if you can, imagine that your feet are pushing down on the floor, or feel your feet push down on the floor, and imagine that your arms are actually reaching straight on up towards the sky. The shoulder blades are coming down, and then to let your arms come on back down again. So if you can, you imagine it. If you can, you do it. And when your arms are up there, If you feel like your shoulder blades are coming up towards your ears, then let them sink back down again. And if you can work on doing this kind of a movement, where you're feeling like your arms are reaching straight up, you're creating that sensation of lightness in your arms, shoulder blades reaching up and coming down. Remember, you can pause anytime you want. You don't have to wait for me. Come on back down again now if you're still up there. Let your shoulders relax down. If it's hard to imagine these things, recognize that this is a skill. Even athletes who learn how to use imagery to improve their athletic performance will say that at first it's difficult and it can take time to do this. So maybe it felt easy, maybe it didn't. Just if it didn't feel particularly easy, recognize that with ongoing practice, imagery is something that can become more easeful, and we know that it can help when there are limitations of movement. Okay, give your shoulders a little bit of a move around if that feels good. Come back to the breath that we did at the beginning. Take your attention out to your body. Notice those areas where you tend to hold tension, where there's discomfort in your body, where there's pain. And as you release your breath, see if you can release a little bit in those areas. Just like you did at the beginning. See if releasing your breath and thinking about the areas of tension, discomfort, or pain, whether you can put that together and whether that will work for you today to help to decrease any of that tension or discomfort or pain. Now, if that's working, stay with that. If the sensation of creating lightness in your body was working as well, come back to that. And if you're doing that, maybe sit against the back of the chair again for a moment. Get your spine tall, let your shoulders relax down, feel your feet on the floor, feel your thighs on the chair, your back against the back of the chair, and create a sensation of lightness in your body. Wherever you tend to hold tension, where there's discomfort or pain right now, see what happens when you create a sensation of lightness there. Don't lose touch with your breath and don't lose touch with the feeling of your feet on the ground and your back against the back of the chair. All right, so we're going to end today with a little bit of a balance. So we're going to come on up to a standing position. So if you feel like for balance, the best thing to do is have your chair beside you. You can have your chair beside you either sideways or whatever way you want. So you come to a standing position. If you are in a chair, sit at the edge of the chair, put your feet down the floor, and you're going to work on imagining this movement. Feel your feet solid on the floor. You can feel the weight of your feet on the floor. Create a sensation of lightness, like your feet are a little bit lighter on the floor. Maybe you can create a sensation that your thighs are a little bit lighter on your knees, and that your low back is a little bit lighter on your pelvis, and that your upper back is lighter on your mid back and low back, and your head is a little bit lighter on your feet. So if you can create that gentle sense of lightness, feel your feet on the floor. Before we move into the balanced posture, the balance move today, what I'd like you to do is to come back to that breath one more time. And notice the parts of your body that right now are too tense, right? So oftentimes when we stand up, we use too much effort. So just check in. You might know the areas of your body that tend to hold too much effort and tension. As you breathe out, let go of some of that tension. Because as you move into a balance position, you're going to feel the tension in your body increasing. So see if you can decrease it just a little bit to start with. Either one hand on the chair and the other hand on your hips, or both hands on your hips. If you're seated in that chair, you're at the edge of the chair, feet are pushing down. You can engage your legs a little bit while you're sitting as if you're lifting up. Create that sensation that your body is lighter. Hand on chair, hand on hip, or both hands on hips. And just shift your weight over onto the left foot, bring the right knee up, and put it back down again. And we're going to go side to side. So then bring the other knee up and put it back down again. So just try this a few times. Notice what happens with your breath. Notice what happens with your body. See if you can maintain that sensation of lightness. Now, if this feels okay and your hands are on your hips as you do it, just put your hand on your thigh or your knee and then bring it back down again and go one side to the other. Do your best to continue with that sensation of lightness in your body. If you start to feel like this is enough, then pause. Sit back down, shift things around, whatever you'd like to do. If you want to try something a little bit more, maybe try with your hand on the side of the chair. Take your knee up to the side. We've done this before. Take your knee out to the side. Pause here. Create that sensation of lightness in your body. Either leave your hand there, or you can put your other hand on your hip. Put your knees just a little bit to the side. Come on down whenever you want to. Make sure you feel okay. So keep your hand there if you need to. And then bring your knee back to the center. Put your foot back down on the floor. Give your hips a little bit of a shift around. Probably made things a little bit tighter there. If you can feel the rest of your body, how is the tension? Create lightness where your body feels like it's gotten tight. Maybe use that breath again to release tension in areas that's got too much. And then when you're ready, try the other side. If you feel like that's enough, come back to a seated position, sit at the edge of the chair, and imagine the sensation of doing that from a seated position. So your hand comes onto the chair, hand on your hip. Start there, probably best to do that. Shift your weight onto the foot closer to the chair this time. Lift the other, oh no, we already did that side, sorry. Take your other knee up. Put your hand on your knee again. If it's best to keep your hand on the chair, then do that. Right? If you feel like it's tippy, it doesn't really feel safe, then keep your hand on the chair. Use as little or as much effort as you want, or force here. Then take the knee out to the side. As you take your knee to the side, you're trying not to turn at your knee or your hip. Your pelvis stays to the front and your knee just comes out to the side. So you're in this kind of a position. You feel that sensation of lightness through your body, lightness in your breath. Knowing it's okay to put your foot down anytime you want to. If your balance is okay, you can leave your hand on there. It's the best thing to do is your balance is okay, you can put your hand on your hip. If it's best to keep your hand on the chair, go ahead and do that. If you're still with your knee in the sky, bring your knee back to the center, put it back down to the floor. Once again, give things a bit of a shift around. So we're going to try one more variation of this that adds a bit more challenge. And this one is you'll be looking off to the other side. So whatever knee goes out, with your left knee goes out to the left side, you're going to turn and look towards the right side, which changes balance, makes it that much harder. So the idea here is feel your feet on the floor, hand on the chair. If you've not tried this before, start with your hand on the chair, other hand on your hip. Take your weight on top of your right foot, keep your breath flowing, create that sensation of lightness in your leg as it comes up. Hand on the knee if you can, take your knee out towards the side. If you're okay here, breathe. If you feel like it's enough, pause, stop, put your foot back down. If you'd like more challenge today, if that feels like the right thing for you, then look over the other side. You can leave your hand here or you can put your hand back on your hip. However you do it, you're doing it in a way that you can feel your breath flowing. It feels safe. You don't feel like you're going to fall right on down. You feel like if you put your foot down, you'll actually catch your balance. That's what you want to be able to do. If you are still there, breathe as you bring your knee back to the center and your head back to the center. Put your foot back down. Give your hips a little bit of a shake around. And then we'll try the same thing on the other side. So it might be better for you to turn around and face the other way so that your other hand's on the chair when your right knee comes up. I'll just swing my chair over here. So it'd probably be better for you just to turn around, but I'll just move the chair here. I can put this hand on the chair now. So everyone start that way. Weight is on your feet, creating that sensation of lightness in your body. Other hand on your hip, bring your right knee up. Take the hand, place it on the knee. I can still feel my breath. I can still create that sensation of lightness, like my leg is lighter, my body is lighter on that foot. Take that knee out to the side. And when I feel ready, I can turn and look over the other shoulder, which even here challenges my balance some. have to work a little bit harder to stay in this position. So you can use your hand on the chair as much as you want. If you know you're good with this, you can put your hand on your hip, however you want to do it. Bring your knee back to the center, put your foot on back down, give your body a bit of a shift around, come back to a seated position. So put your back against the back of the chair. If it would feel good to shift around a bit, go ahead and do that. Feel good to shift your shoulders, do that. Check in with the muscles around your face. Soften the muscles around your eyebrows, around your eyes. Find some softness in the muscles around your jaw, and your cheeks, and your tongue. Maybe you can do that by creating a sensation of lightness. Maybe you can do that on the exhale, as just let go with your exhale a bit. Or maybe you can just think, make it softer there, whichever way would work best for you. If there's still remaining tension around your hips or your low back, same thing. Come back to that breath, come back to that sensation of creating lightness in your body, or whatever will work for you to let body tension go. If you haven't already, come back to that breath that we did at the beginning and through the practice. You can feel your feet on the floor, thighs on the chair, back against the back of the chair. Check in once again with those areas of pain, tension, or discomfort. Notice how they're feeling now. Notice how your breath feels now if you just let it be. Notice how your body feels right now. Excuse me. Notice what's happening in your thoughts. Notice what's happening in your emotions. And maybe there's something that you noticed today as you're practicing that you want to remember. So if you can, just park that a little bit. Or something you want to do differently next time. Excuse me, a little dry air here. Sorry about that. So if there's anything you want to remember from the practice today, sort of hold on to that idea so you can write it down later on and remember. As I know when Jen comes back on again, she'll be giving you a little bit of information. We'll have a chance if anyone has any questions to talk about those. And there'll be a poll for you to fill out as well. So Jen, whenever you're ready.
I'm here. Thank you, Neil. And thanks to everyone at home who took the time today to do that. I hope you're feeling well after that workout. Now, we'll launch the poll in just a minute, as Neil said. And we do just have a few minutes if anybody has any questions for Neil or for me, most likely for Neil. But you can put them in the chat or you can put them in the Q&A, and I'll read both. And we do have one very good question in the Q&A, Neil. The question is the breath in the chest or in the stomach?
Right. I would say the way to do it is, excuse me, the way to do it is the way that feels easiest or best for you. Generally, we believe that this belly movement, that most of the times when we're really, really relaxed, as we breathe, we feel our belly expand a bit. And as we breathe out, our belly just relaxes back in again. Sometimes we find that focusing on that area actually can be agitating or produce even anxiety to focus on the belly while a person's breathing. At the same idea is that sometimes if you if you focus on the movement at the chest, especially if it's up here around your collarbones, that doesn't work really well. So it's a little bit, to say that in a totally different way, or to sum that up, is just try different ways for yourself and see which way works better. There's not a one type of breath is the way you want to do it all the time. And there's not, for individuals, there'll be differences across. So if you feel like it's easy to move your belly when you do it, and it gets you what you want to get, you feel calm, go ahead and do that. If you find that taking it more up into the rib cage feels better, then do that. I would suggest, though, the one thing is that if you really feel your collarbones moving up a lot, if you're feeling like you're getting a lot of tension in your neck, or your shoulder blades are really sort of coming up like this, that often those kinds of breath techniques won't help to calm your nervous system down as best as you can get. So if you can try to get it out of your neck and your collarbone area and into the chest, the rib cage, down the belly, all those areas are fine. And sorry, I wish I could give you this is the exact way to do it, but it's just not as simple as that.
Thank you, Neil. All right, I don't think we have any more questions, so I think we'll leave it there. Thanks again for everyone for coming, and that was great work. Oh, hang on. We've got another question. I think. Sorry, I just got it through. Oh, hang on here. Oh, okay. Is it okay on the acute pain days, Neil, to be in the bath or hot tub?
No one has ever asked me that question before in terms of the movement. So I can't think of, I mean, in terms of just, the general safety, and I don't know what a person's medical condition is, whether a hot tub is the right thing to do. And a bathtub, there's always the risk of, falling. So those things we need to take care of for certain. But I think in terms of, could you do these things in the bathtub? Absolutely, yes. If you think that there's a risk, I would say if you think that there's a risk of you falling asleep, right? Of getting that relaxed by doing this, then you either need to have somebody there with you or an alarm set or something. But aside from those issues, I think you're okay otherwise.
Neil, I kind of wonder if it was a question about heat on acute pain days.
Oh,
and
yeah,
okay. like having I'm not exactly sure, but I wonder if
that's okay. So if it is a question about heat versus neutral or versus ice, we really have to say that clinically, once again, it's individual. And, this is part of what we do in physical therapy, is try to help people ascertain which works best for them. And so that's really what, in terms of heat on an acute injury, there really needs to be some sort of assessment of, does the application of heat help you with your pain or with the swelling, with movement? Because some people will find putting heat on actually helps those things. Whereas ice actually makes it feel tighter and harder to move. And then other people will put ice on and say, that makes the swelling go down, that makes the pain go down. I really prefer that. So it really is the answer is to have a good evaluation of it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Neil.
Okay.
Okay, everyone. Thanks again for coming. And oh, hang on. I think we got it. Does okay? There we go. That did answer the question. So
okay, great.
That's great.
Good.
Okay, I like all these last minute questions coming in. It's very exciting reading all this. All right, thanks everyone for coming, and we'll see you later this week. Thanks, Neil.
Bye. Bye.
Take care.